It was a quiet evening in the small town of Maplewood. The residents were winding down after a long day, and the local park was almost deserted. However, something unusual was happening in a secluded corner of the park. A faint humming noise grew louder, and suddenly, a bright flash of light illuminated the sky. When the light faded, a sleek, metallic spaceship stood in the middle of the park, its doors slowly opening with a hiss. Inside the spaceship, an alien predator known as Zarnax prepared to disembark. Zarnax was a formidable creature from a distant galaxy, known for its strength, intelligence, and hunting prowess. Its mission was simple: to find and capture the most unique and skilled creatures on Earth. Little did Zarnax know that its first encounter would be with two of the most unlikely heroes, a cat named Whiskers and a dog named Max. Whiskers and Max were no ordinary pets. Whiskers, a sleek white and black striped cat with piercing hazel eyes, was known for her agility and cunning wit. Max, a sturdy German shepherd, was renowned for his strength and loyalty. They had been best friends and partners in adventure since they were adopted by the same family. That evening, they had sneaked out to the park for a little nighttime escapade. As Zarnax emerged from the spaceship, its sensors picked up the presence of Whiskers and Max. Intrigued by the readings, the alien predator set out to investigate. Whiskers was the first to sense something was amiss. Her ears perked up, and she let out a low growl. Max followed her gaze and saw the strange creature approaching them. Without a moment's hesitation, Whiskers and Max sprang into action. Whiskers darted into the shadows, using her agility to stay out of Zarnax's sight. Max stood his ground, barking loudly to draw the alien's attention away from his feline friend. Zarnax, unfazed by the noise, advanced steadily towards Max. Whiskers, using her keen senses, spotted a weak spot on Zarnax's armor. She signaled to Max, who understood her plan immediately. With a powerful leap, Whiskers launched herself at Zarnax, aiming for the vulnerable spot. At the same time, Max charged at the alien with all his might. The combined attack caught Zarnax off guard. It stumbled backward, momentarily disoriented. Whiskers and Max took advantage of the situation, retreating to a safer distance. Zarnax, regaining its composure, realized that capturing these creatures would be more challenging than it had anticipated. As the night wore on, Whiskers and Max continued their cat-and-mouse game with Zarnax. They used their surroundings to their advantage, outmaneuvering the alien at every turn. Despite its advanced technology and superior strength, Zarnax found itself struggling to keep up with the clever duo. Finally, as dawn approached, Zarnax decided to retreat. It had underestimated the resilience and resourcefulness of Whiskers and Max. Boarding its spaceship, Zarnax vowed to return with a new strategy. Whiskers and Max watched as the spaceship disappeared into the sky, their bond stronger than ever after their thrilling encounter. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their adventures with Zarnax. The alien predator would not give up easily, and the showdown between the unlikely heroes and the formidable hunter was far from over. The next morning, Whiskers and Max woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside their cozy home. The events of the previous night felt like a distant dream, but the small scars on Max's paw and the lingering scent of the alien in Whiskers' fur were stark reminders of their encounter. They knew they had to prepare for Zarnax's inevitable return. Whiskers and Max's owner, Emily, was a kind-hearted woman who loved her pets dearly. She noticed the changes in their behavior, how they seemed more alert, constantly on the lookout for something. Though she didn't know about their nighttime adventure, she decided to take them to her friend Jake, an animal trainer with a reputation for handling even the most extraordinary cases. Jake's training facility was an expansive area filled with various obstacles, tunnels, and training equipment. When Emily explained her concerns, Jake took it upon himself to train Whiskers and Max. He had a hunch that something unusual was going on and was determined to help them prepare for whatever lay ahead. The training began with basic agility and strength exercises. Whiskers, with her natural grace and speed, excelled at the agility courses. She leaped through hoops, sprinted across balance beams, and navigated through tunnels with ease. Max, on the other hand, showed remarkable strength and endurance. He pulled weights, jumped over high barriers, and tackled various physical challenges head-on. As days turned into weeks, Jake introduced more complex drills. He devised scenarios that required Whiskers and Max to work together, enhancing their teamwork and communication. They learned to anticipate each other's moves, combining Whiskers' agility with Max's brute force to overcome obstacles. The bond between them grew even stronger as they pushed their limits. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Jake decided it was time for a special training exercise. He had created a simulated environment that mimicked the park where Whiskers and Max had encountered Zarnax. He wanted to see how they would react under pressure. The simulation began, and Whiskers and Max instantly fell into their roles. Whiskers moved stealthily, using her surroundings to stay hidden, while Max stood guard, ready to defend. Jake watched in awe as they flawlessly executed their maneuvers, their instincts sharp and precise. It was clear that they had grown significantly stronger and more coordinated. After the exercise, Jake gathered Whiskers and Max. "You two are incredible," he said, scratching Max behind the ears and gently stroking Whiskers. "I don't know what you're up against, but I have no doubt you'll be ready." That night, Whiskers and Max lay side by side, exhausted but content. They had come a long way from their initial encounter with Zarnax, and they knew their training would be crucial for the battles ahead. As they drifted off to sleep, their dreams were filled with visions of their next showdown with the alien predator. Unbeknownst to them, Zarnax was also preparing. In a hidden lair deep in the forest, the alien predator analyzed data from their previous encounter, studying their tactics and weaknesses. Zarnax was determined to capture Whiskers and Max, and it was devising new strategies and technologies to ensure its victory. The stage was set for an epic showdown, and both sides were gearing up for the ultimate test of strength, skill, and cunning wit. Whiskers and Max had no idea what awaited them, but they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. The fate of their town, and perhaps the world, depended on their ability to outsmart and outfight the alien predator. It was a warm summer evening when Zarnax decided to make its move. The alien predator had spent weeks studying Whiskers and Max, and it was confident that it had devised the perfect strategy to capture them. The town of Maplewood was once again about to become the battleground for an extraordinary showdown. Whiskers and Max were relaxing in their backyard, enjoying a rare moment of peace. Emily had gone out for the evening, leaving them to their own devices. As they lay there, a sudden chill ran down Whiskers' spine. She sat up, her ears twitching, and let out a low growl. Max immediately sensed her distress and stood up, his eyes scanning the surroundings. Before they could react, a series of strange, high-pitched noises filled the air. Whiskers and Max looked up to see several small, drone-like devices hovering above them. These were Zarnax's latest creations, designed to capture and incapacitate their targets with precision. Whiskers and Max sprang into action. Whiskers darted towards the house, her agile movements making it difficult for the drones to lock onto her. Max, using his powerful legs, leaped up and swatted at the nearest drone, knocking it out of the sky. Despite their efforts, the drones were relentless, and it wasn't long before they found themselves surrounded. In a desperate bid to escape, Whiskers led Max towards the forest at the edge of their yard. The dense trees and undergrowth provided some cover, but the drones were equipped with advanced tracking systems. Whiskers and Max had to rely on their training and instincts to outmaneuver the persistent machines. As they ran deeper into the forest, the drones continued to close in. Whiskers spotted a narrow crevice between two large rocks and signaled to Max. Without hesitation, they squeezed through the opening, hoping to lose the drones in the labyrinth of rocks and foliage. The drones, unable to navigate the tight spaces, hovered outside the crevice, scanning for any sign of their targets. Whiskers and Max took a moment to catch their breath, their hearts pounding from the adrenaline. They knew they couldn't stay hidden forever, and they needed to find a way to disable the drones. Whiskers, ever the thinker, began to formulate a plan. She noticed a small stream running nearby, and an idea struck her. She signaled to Max, and they quietly made their way to the stream. Using their combined strength, they gathered rocks and sticks, creating a makeshift dam to redirect the water flow towards the drones. Once their trap was set, Whiskers and Max lured the drones closer by making noise and then quickly retreated to the safety of the crevice. As the drones hovered over the stream, the redirected water surged towards them, short-circuiting their electronic systems. One by one, the drones sputtered and crashed to the ground. With the immediate threat neutralized, Whiskers and Max knew they had to keep moving. Zarnax would not be far behind, and they needed to stay ahead of the alien predator. As they made their way through the forest, they could hear the faint hum of Zarnax's spaceship in the distance. Their journey through the forest was fraught with danger, but Whiskers and Max were determined to survive. They relied on their training and each other, navigating the treacherous terrain with skill and precision. The bond between them grew even stronger as they faced each new challenge together. As dawn approached, they finally reached the edge of the forest, exhausted but triumphant. They had managed to evade Zarnax once again, but they knew the alien predator would not give up easily. Whiskers and Max were ready for whatever came next, their resolve unshaken by the trials they had faced. After their narrow escape from the forest, Whiskers and Max found temporary refuge in an abandoned barn on the outskirts of Maplewood. The barn, with its weathered wooden beams and hay-filled stalls, offered them a place to rest and regroup. They knew Zarnax was still hunting them, but for now, they had a moment to relax. Inside the barn, Whiskers and Max planned their next move. They needed a strategy to outsmart Zarnax once and for all. Whiskers, always the thinker, suggested setting a trap for the alien predator. Max, ever the doer, was eager to put their plan into action. They decided to use the barn's natural layout to their advantage. They spent the next few hours gathering materials and setting up their trap. Whiskers climbed to the rafters, where she had a clear view of the entire barn. She used her agility to place ropes and pulleys in strategic locations. Max, on the ground, arranged bales of hay and old farming equipment to create obstacles and hiding spots. As they worked, the bond between them grew even stronger. They communicated through subtle gestures and sounds, their teamwork seamless. By the time they finished, the barn was transformed into a labyrinth of traps and surprises, designed to confound and capture Zarnax. Just as they completed their preparations, they heard the distant hum of Zarnax's spaceship. Whiskers and Max took their positions, ready for the showdown. The spaceship landed outside the barn, and the doors opened with a hiss. Zarnax emerged, his eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of its prey. Whiskers signaled to Max, and he let out a series of barks, drawing Zarnax's attention. The alien predator entered the barn, its sensors on high alert. As it moved through the darkened interior, Whiskers and Max sprang into action. Max, using his strength, pushed a heavy bale of hay towards Zarnax, who dodged it easily. However, this was just a distraction. Whiskers, perched above, released a rope that triggered a series of pulleys, sending a net flying towards Zarnax. The alien predator was caught off guard and entangled in the net. Zarnax struggled to free itself, but Whiskers and Max were relentless. Max darted in and out, nipping at Zarnax's legs, while Whiskers used her agility to avoid his flailing arms. They worked in perfect harmony, their movements synchronized and precise. Realizing it was outmatched, Zarnax used its advanced technology to cut through the net and regain its footing. It unleashed a series of energy blasts, narrowly missing Whiskers and Max. They retreated, using the barn's layout to stay one step ahead of the alien predator. The battle raged on, the barn filled with the sounds of growls, barks, and the hum of Zarnax's weapons. Whiskers and Max knew they couldn't keep this up forever, and they needed to find a way to disable Zarnax once and for all. Whiskers spotted an old tractor engine hanging from the rafters, held up by a series of ropes. She signaled to Max, and he understood immediately. As Zarnax advanced towards them, Max led it towards the center of the barn. Whiskers, with a swift leap, cut the main rope holding the engine. The engine crashed to the ground, the impact sending a shockwave through the barn. Zarnax was caught in the blast, his weapon systems temporarily overloaded. Whiskers and Max seized the opportunity to escape, slipping out of the barn and into the night. They knew Zarnax would recover and come after them again, but for now, they had won another round. Their bond stronger than ever, Whiskers and Max were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The showdown with Zarnax was far from over, but they were determined to protect their home and each other, no matter the cost. Whiskers and Max had no time to celebrate their victory. They knew Zarnax would be back, stronger and more determined than ever. They needed a new plan, and they needed it fast. After a brief rest, they made their way to the old Maplewood factory on the outskirts of town. The factory, abandoned for years, was a labyrinth of machinery and dark corridors, the perfect place for their final stand. Inside the factory, Whiskers and Max scouted the area, looking for ways to use the environment to their advantage. The factory was filled with old conveyor belts, rusted machinery, and towering stacks of crates. They quickly got to work, setting up traps and creating hiding spots. This time, they were determined to end the fight once and for all. As they prepared, the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the factory floor. Whiskers and Max knew Zarnax would arrive soon. They took their positions, hearts pounding with anticipation. The familiar hum of Zarnax's spaceship grew louder, signaling the alien predator's approach. Zarnax's ship landed outside the factory, and the alien emerged, its eyes glowing with a fierce determination. It had come prepared, equipped with new weapons and defenses. Whiskers and Max watched from the shadows, ready to spring their trap. The battle began with a roar. Max, ever the brave fighter, charged at Zarnax, distracting it while Whiskers moved into position. Zarnax fired a series of energy blasts, but Max used the factory's machinery as cover, dodging and weaving with remarkable agility. Whiskers, perched on a high beam, waited for the right moment to strike. Max led Zarnax into a narrow corridor lined with conveyor belts. Whiskers, seeing her opportunity, released a lever, activating the belts. The sudden movement caught Zarnax off guard, throwing it off balance. Max seized the moment, lunging at the alien and knocking it to the ground. Zarnax quickly recovered, using its advanced technology to regain control. It unleashed a wave of energy, sending Max flying across the room. Whiskers let out a fierce growl, leaping from her perch to land on Zarnax's back. She clawed at its armor, searching for a weak spot. Zarnax, enraged, tried to shake Whiskers off, but she held on with all her strength. Max, recovering from the blast, charged back into the fray, his powerful jaws clamping down on Zarnax's arm. Together they fought with everything they had, their bond and determination driving them forward. The battle raged on, the factory filled with the sounds of struggle. Whiskers and Max knew they couldn't keep this up forever. They needed a decisive move. Whiskers spotted an old, unstable crane hanging overhead. She signaled to Max, and he understood immediately. Max used his strength to push Zarnax towards the center of the factory floor. Whiskers, with a swift leap, cut the main support beam holding the crane. The crane came crashing down directly from above, sending a powerful jolt through the building. Zarnax was caught in the collision, his systems severely damaged. Whiskers and Max watched as the alien predator struggled to stand. They had done it. They had finally outsmarted and overpowered Zarnax. The alien let out a final roar of defiance before collapsing to the ground, its glowing eyes dimming. The battle was over. Whiskers and Max, exhausted but triumphant, stood together in the rubble of the factory. They had protected their home and each other, their bond stronger than ever. The town of Maplewood was safe, thanks to their courage and determination. As dawn broke, they made their way back home, their hearts filled with a sense of peace. They knew that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, the town of Maplewood slowly returned to its peaceful routine after the dramatic showdown with Zarnax. The factory remained a silent testament to the epic battle that had taken place. Whiskers and Max, hailed as heroes by those who knew their story, settled back into their roles as beloved pets and protectors of their home. Emily, unaware of the full extent of their adventures, noticed a change in her pets. They seemed more confident, more connected, and more in tune with each other. She was proud of them and grateful for the bond they shared. Little did she know that bond had been forged in the fires of battle and strengthened through countless challenges. Whiskers and Max enjoyed their peaceful days, but they never let their guard down. They continued to train and prepare, knowing that there might be other threats out there. They explored new parts of Maplewood, discovering hidden nooks and crannies where they could practice their skills. Their adventures had made them vigilant and ever ready to protect their home. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned a brilliant shade of orange, Whiskers and Max sat on the porch, watching the world go by. They had earned this moment of tranquility, but their senses remained sharp. The memory of Zarnax's defeat was a reminder that they could overcome any obstacle as long as they worked together. As they sat there, they heard a faint rustling in the bushes. Whiskers' ears perked up, and Max stood at attention. Out of the shadows emerged a small, timid creature, a young fox, looking lost and scared. Whiskers and Max exchanged a glance, understanding immediately that the fox needed their help. They approached the fox cautiously, using their gentle demeanor to put it at ease. The fox, sensing their kindness, relaxed and allowed them to lead it to safety. It was clear that the fox had been through an ordeal, and Whiskers and Max knew they had a new friend to look after. Over the following days, the fox became a part of their little family. Whiskers and Max showed it the ropes, teaching it how to navigate the town and avoid danger. The fox, in turn, brought a new dynamic to their team, adding its own unique skills and perspective. Life in Maplewood continued, but the presence of Whiskers, Max, and their new fox friend brought a sense of security to the town. The residents, though unaware of the full extent of the trio's adventures, felt safer knowing that these remarkable animals were looking out for them. As the seasons changed, Whiskers and Max remained ever vigilant, ready to face any challenge that came their way. They had proven that even the unlikeliest of heroes could make a difference, and their legacy of courage and friendship would continue to inspire those around them. Emily often watched her pets with a sense of wonder and pride. She marveled at their bond and the unspoken understanding between them. She knew that, whatever the future held, Whiskers and Max would face it together, their hearts united by the trials they had overcome. In the quiet moments, when the world seemed at peace, Whiskers and Max would look at each other and share a silent acknowledgement of their journey. They had faced an alien predator and emerged victorious. They had protected their home and their loved ones, and they had done it all together, as the best of friends and the greatest of heroes. The story of Whiskers and Max, and their epic showdown with Zarnax, would live on in the hearts of those who knew them. It was a tale of bravery, friendship, and the unbreakable bond between a cat and a dog who stood together against all odds. And in the end, it was a story of love and loyalty, the true heart of any great adventure.